They're now advocating for morality pills. This is one of the most disturbing things I have read in a very, very long time. This is from The Conversation: Academic Rigor, Journalistic Flair. Yeah. Let's see what this academic rigor is really all about here. Morality pills may be the US's best shot at ending the coronavirus pandemic, according to one ethicist. This one ethicist is going to be Parker Crutchfield. So let's see what Parker Crutchfield has to say about this. COVID-19 is a collective risk. It threatens everyone, and we all must cooperate to lower the chance that the coronavirus harms any one individual. Among other things, that means keeping safe social distances and wearing masks. But many people choose not to do these things, making spread of infection more likely. That is because we live in a free America and we have constitutional rights. And you cannot force us to do things like this. When someone chooses not to follow public health guidelines around the coronavirus, they're defecting from the public good. Or we think that we're being hoodwinked and swindled and that we are being tricked into living in fear over something where the numbers are being absolutely pumped up. It's the moral equivalent of the tragedy of the commons. If anyone shares the same pasture for their individual flock, some people are going to graze their animals longer or let them eat more of their fair share, ruining the more of their fair share. This is already sounding like communism right here. Ruining the commons in the process. Selfish and self-defeating behavior undermines the pursuit of something from which everyone can benefit. Democratically enacted enforceable rules, mandating things like mask wearing and social distancing. Hold on a second. How is something democratically enacted if it's mandated? These are weasel words. They want you to buy the premise that it's democratically enacted just because they use the term democratically enacted. But if it's mandated, it is not democratically enacted. That means it is centrally being ruled down from up on high. So he's saying democratically enacted enforceable rules might work if defectors could be coerced into adhering to them. Listen to this. Mandated and coerced. That is democratically enacted enforceable rules. The mental gymnastics that the left goes through to try to sell you on their authoritarian ideas know no bounds. But not all states have opted to pass them or enforce the rules that are in place. That's because some states actually believe in the right to people to self-determine. My research in bioethics focuses on questions like how to induce those who are non-cooperative to get on board with doing what's best for the public good. So his research focuses on basically how to create a hive mind, how to create completely cooperative, completely conformist cogs in a machine. He is trying to teach people how to be widgets. This is the dystopian future right here, and this person is advocating for it. To me, it seems the problem of coronavirus defectors could be solved by moral enhancement. First of all, morality is relative. There are some things that the Islamic world finds moral and we find morally repugnant here in the West. Things like, stoning women to death and honor killings. While that might be the moral thing to do in their culture, it is astonishingly amoral or immoral in our culture. So you can't just impose that. To me, it seems the problem of coronavirus defectors could be solved by moral enhancements. Like receiving a vaccine to beef up your immune system, people could take a substance to boost their cooperative, pro-social behavior. This is mind control. He's talking about mind control in the service of what he views as the greater good. Whew. Could a psychoactive pill be the solution to the pandemic? It's a far-out proposal that's bound to be controversial, Yeah, because it's evil. Evil things tend to be controversial because it goes against everything that Western civilization and the American ethos stands for. But so he says, it's a far-out proposal that's bound to be controversial, but one I believe is it worth at least considering. No, it is not, given the importance of social cooperation in the struggle to get COVID-19 under control. You know what else would be good in getting COVID-19 under control? Taking the politics out of it and being honest about the numbers. Being honest about how it spreads. Being honest about who is susceptible and who isn't. Not paying hospitals to call motorcycle deaths and car accident deaths and gunshot deaths COVID deaths. That is pretty important too. And maybe not suppressing certain medications that are not profitable to the pharmaceutical industry. I think you all know what I'm talking about. Public goods game show scale of the problem. Evidence from oh, this is gonna be golden right here. Evidence from experimental economics shows that that defections are common to situations in which people face collective risks. Evidence from experimental economics. That's his Weasley way of referring to socialism and communism. Experimental economics. Guess where those experiments have failed? Everywhere they take place. There is a reason why people defect. And what he is pointing out here is the primary reason why communism will never happen. Because you will always have defectors, because you will always have people who don't believe in the utopian vision and don't want to go along. And that is also why communism always leads to mass murder and genocide. Because when you have that vision and you have the defectors, the only way to further the utopian vision is to kill the defectors. It's just like Joseph Stalin said. Death is the problem to all solutions. No man, no problem. This is Stalinism right here. Economists use public goods games to measure how people behave in various scenarios to lower collective risks, such as from climate change or a pandemic, and to prevent the loss of public and private goods. The evidence from these experiments is no cause for optimism. Wow, it's almost like human nature is not a hive mind. Usually everyone loses because people won't cooperate. Yeah. Because we all have our own visions for what we want to do with our lives and how we want to live our lives. That is why freedom is the only system that works. But this actually takes tolerance, which the left used to be all about, but now no longer are. This research suggests it's not surprising people aren't wearing masks or social distancing. Lots of people defect from the group when facing a collective risk. By the same token, I'd expect that as a group, we will fail at addressing the collective risk of COVID-19 because groups usually fail. Far more than 150,000 Americans so far, this has meant losing everything there is to lose. In fact, I think it's far less than 150,000 because they are fudging the numbers like crazy. But don't abandon all hope. If this is your mission, I want you to abandon hope. Because people like me, we're not going to go along. We will not play by your rules. We will not live on our knees. We would rather die on our feet. In some of these experiments, the group wins and successfully prevents the losses associated with the collective risks. What makes winning more likely? Things like keeping a running tally of what others are contributing. What he's talking about here is an allusion to a social credit system, like they have in China. Again, communism. Do you see how he is masking the real game here? He is hiding the ball. Things likely, keeping a running tally of what others are contributing, observing others' behaviors, so that would be spying on people, communication and coordination before and during play, So that means ratting people out. So what? And democratic implementation of an enforceable rule requiring contributions. That is communist hive mindism. So he's talking about having a social credit score, spying on people's behavior, snitching and ratting people out, and basically forcing people who go against, gulagging anybody who doesn't go along. That is his prescription here. If you read what he's actually saying, that's exactly what it is. For those of us in the United States, these conditions are out of reach when it comes to COVID-19. You can't know what others are contributing to the fight against the coronavirus, especially if you socially distance yourself. It's impossible to keep a running tally of what the other 328 million people in the U.S. are doing. Oh, but I'm sure government and big tech companies can do that for us. And communications and coordination are not feasible outside of your own small group. Even if these factors were achievable, they still require the very cooperative behavior that is in short supply. The scale of the pandemic is simply too great for any of this to be possible. Well, at least he acknowledges that, but he should also understand that the actual goal in and of itself is evil and the exact antithesis of anything that the founding principles of this nation. Promoting cooperation with moral enhancement. It seems that the U.S. is not currently equipped to cooperatively lower the risk confronting us. Many are instead pinning their hopes on the rapid development and distribution of an enhancement to the immune system, a vaccine. No, most of us don't want a vaccine. But I believe society may be better off, both in short term as well as long term, by boosting not the body's ability to fight off disease, but the brain's ability to cooperate with others. This is literal mind control. I've already said it. It's turning us into cogs. It's turning us into widgets. Just send us drones to the machine. Wow. What if researchers developed and delivered a moral enhancer rather than an immunity enhancer? That would be goddamn scary. Moral enhancement is the use of substances to make you more moral. Well, no shit. The psychoactive substances act on your ability to reason about what the right thing to do, or your ability to be empathetic or altruistic or cooperative. Again, a lot of that is subjective. There is nothing altruistic about shutting down the entire economy so that small businesses go out and they can no longer feed their families. This is more complex than just spreading the disease. It's not about just making sure that nobody gets this or dies from it. It's also about making sure that people are able to put food on their table, feed their kids, and make a living for themselves. But of course, this person is clearly a communist, so they think that the government can just do that for us. Because food comes from the magical food fairies. And money comes from the magical money monsters. For example, oxytocin, the chemical that, among other things, can induce labor or increase the bond between mother and child, may cause a person to be more empathetic and altruistic, more giving and generous. The same goes for psilocybin, the active component in magic mushrooms. These substances have been shown to lower aggressive behavior in those with antisocial personality disorder and to improve the ability of sociopaths to recognize emotion in others. Oh, God. This is the dystopian future. Give us a pill and turn me into a worker bee. And just enslave us to the corporations then. The substances interact directly with the psychological underpinnings of moral behavior. Others that make you more rational could also help. Then perhaps... It's not irrational to understand that we can't all just completely stay distance from ourselves until some phantom disease is gone. And that we can just put the entire world on pause. That in and of itself is irrational. Then perhaps people who choose to go maskless or flout social distancing guidelines would better understand that everyone, including them, is better off when they contribute. Maybe they're better off contributing at the workplace. And rationalize that the best thing to do is cooperate. That's go with us or you're out. Moral enhancement as an alternative to vaccines. There are, of course, pitfalls in moral enhancements. One is that the science isn't developed enough. For example, while oxytocin might cause some people to be more pro-social, it also appears to encourage ethnocentrism. Maybe... Have all of these Antifa people been taking oxytocin? Because they are becoming ethnocentric as hell, and they're becoming segregationists. Maybe we need to slow down on the oxytocin for Black Lives Matter and Antifa. And so is probably a bad candidate for a widely distributed moral enhancement. But this doesn't mean that a morality pill is impossible. The solution to the underdeveloped science isn't to quit on it. Yes, it is. But to direct resources to related research in neuroscience, psychology, or one of the behavioral sciences. Another challenge that is the defectors who need moral enhancement are also the least likely to sign up for it. You're damn right about that. No way in hell you're going to get that shit into me. As some have argued, a solution would be to make moral enhancement compulsory. Are you kidding me? Or administer it secretly, perhaps via the water supply. This man is actually promoting the idea that we should secretly administer mind-controlled drugs in the water supply. This person, what is his name? Parker Crutchfield? Yeah, Parker Crutchfield. This is one dangerous, dangerous dude. Wow. Administer it secretly, perhaps via the water supply. These actions require weighing other values. Does the good of covertly dosing the public with a drug that would change people's behavior outweigh individuals' autonomy to choose whether to participate? No, it will never outweigh it. In fact, it's like the fat kid jumping onto the seesaw with the skinny little nerd on the other side. It flips it entirely off. They do not balance. Not in the slightest. Whew. All right. Where was I? Does the good of covertly dosing the public... Does the good associated with wearing a mask outweigh an individual's autonomy not to wear one? No. No. It doesn't outweigh an individual's autonomy because we have the First Amendment here. We have the Constitution. And you cannot compel people to wear items of clothing. The scenario in which the government forces an immunity booster upon everyone is plausible, and the military has been forcing enhancement like vaccines and uppers upon soldiers for a long time. The scenario in which the government forces a morality booster upon everyone is far-fetched. It is insane, is what it is. It is not far-fetched, it is batshit crazy. But a strategy like this one could be a way out of the pandemic. I'm sorry, but a way out of the pandemic is just not that important. It does not scale to the level of importance that secretly mind-controlling the water supply. I can't believe this person is actually putting his name to this. But a strategy like this could be a way out of the pandemic, a future outbreak, or the suffering associated with climate change. That's why we should be thinking of it now. No, we will never think of it, because we will have no individual autonomy and our lives will be worthless. We will be living just to live. Anyways, guys, this is the type of stuff that people in our scientific fields are working on. So when they say the science doesn't lie, maybe the science doesn't lie, or actually, yes, the big S science lies quite often, as we've seen throughout this entire COVID, Wu flu, Kung Pao sickened pandemic. It does lie. But it also seems to have no empathy, to use his own words, no empathy for the Constitution and the rights of others to self-determine. Anyways, guys, that's the video. If you like this video, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, share this video, let people know what these psychopaths are out here doing, And also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Parler at Ram Thorburn. And if you're interested in contributing to the channel, there are links to my Subscribestar, Patreon, and PayPal down in the description below. Thank you guys very much for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful day.